Hey there, welcome to Cryptids and Conspiracies. I am your host, Cooper, and I am on day 3 of botulism. So if I look a little peaked tonight, that's probably has something to do with it. It's nothing better than that particular train. If you know what it is, then you'll definitely know it's not fun. Anyway. So hopefully I can keep my energy up for at least 1 hour because I got to corral these morons. So, all right. Speaking of morons, let me bring the first moron in.
Sir,
there we go.
Nobody worries about upsetting a droid.
That's because a droid don't pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose. Wookiees are known to do that.
Welcome to the show, moron.
Thank you. My botulism brother. Don't Ralph all over the microphone.
It may happen before the show's over. But we'll find out.
Did you
What's
get
that?
Your kale pectate?
No, I did not. I have not yet. I'm considering it though.
All right.
Anyway.
Just,
All right, let me bring on if I suddenly go bunny and disappear
dark,
for about
you're
5 minutes or so, yeah, you'll know what happened. Anyway, all right. So next to the show is this guy.
Abby someone. Abby someone. Abby who? Abby normal.
Yes, another edition of Bunny and the Wacky Pack Horse.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, because
If it's no Scottish, just clap!
Greetings, fellow morons. Lovely to see you.
All hail.
Hail, morons.
Thank you for having us.
welcome.
Parkour morons. There we go.
Parkour morons.
Yeah, the parkourons or whatever.
Moron. Here we go.
Yeah, you go.
Morons. The morons.
From the planet Parkour.
There you go. There you go. Remember, keep your parkours warm. It is winter and it's cold out. All right. Anyway,
Unless you're in Los Angeles.
unless you're in Los Angeles where it's very warm.
Very warm now.
Parkour
It's the home of the flame broiled whopper.
Extremely warm right now. Anyway.
Home of the flame
Can you still have it your way?
Mm.
You can. Original
I don't
recipe
know.
or extra crispy.
I don't know. Old Newsom has a hell of a grill going on. Just saying.
Well,
I'll
he's
tell you
got
what,
enough
you better
grease
watch out.
to lube a
You can't
Buick.
get too close to the flames because his hair will catch on fire.
By the way, draining all the water out of your reservoir in favor of a small, tiny fish that may or may not be indigenous to LA, and then ignoring all the dried underbrush that is like accumulating in your forest, and then, waiting for a really stiff breeze to come along can have disastrous consequences.
Yeah,
But-
I think that's a sign of being a moron.
Yeah. And by the way, you can blame it all on Trump, though.
Yeah.
Who hasn't been president in 4 years. You can
Climate
blame it
change.
on him. Yeah. Climate
Did you
change.
know-
Climate change.
Did you know that Trump was responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs? I bet you didn't know that.
No,
I didn't.
Did
You
not
know,
know that. But it checks.
I heard he had a hand in the Andrea Doria sinking.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
shit, he
I'll go
caused
that
the
shit.
San Andreas fault.
Except the Andrea didn't sink. It's all the people on the Andrea disappeared, and it actually came into shore without any crew. So there you
Did
go.
he cause St. Helens River up in 1980?
He may have. Anyway, tonight we're going to complete our trilogy of the FBI sucks. Pretty much.
Or at least
Yeah.
Lon
In
Harucci does.
Yeah.
There you go. Lana Hariuchi. He did not turn up in this one, though. He did not turn up.
No, he
this
did
one.
not.
So,
No, he did not.
Those fucking clowns didn't show up.
no. But some other people did show up. Some of the usual
Dun, 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 the
did show up.
ATF.
By the way,
The Secret Service.
by the way, Bill Clinton was still president at this time.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He was,
Bill.
There you go.
he was freshly elected, I think.
Good on Bill.
Well, no,
Well,
this is 95. He was pretty
95.
solidly. He was in
Yeah.
there for a while at that point.
Yeah, two-term.
Anyway,
Yep.
yeah. All right. So basically, we're basically going to talk about unlike the other situation we talked about. There was. Go ahead.
Did you put up your poll?
I did.
Okay, good.
Uh-huh.
So, all right, just wanted to check.
Yeah. Did McVeigh act alone? So that's the poll. So yeah. All right. Anyway, so unlike the other ones, there is definitely a clear culpable individual in this one, and that is Timothy McVeigh. He has never denied that he was behind the bombing, but he did talk about some other people involved that never came to light. So that's the question for
With the
tonight.
exception of Terry McNichol and the other two, the guy and his wife, but they did a plea deal and
Right.
yeah.
Was there not
Yeah,
a
Terry
sister?
McNichols.
Was there not
it was
Terry Nichols.
was there not a sister? Was there not a sister involved as well, or something?
I don't know. I know there was the wife and husband duo, and I forget their name, but they pleaded out. The husband served a few years. The wife got a fucking sweetheart deal where she, testified and was served no prison time.
Yeah. What's his name still in jail now, isn't it?
McVeigh's the only one got the death penalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, Timothy McVeigh was executed within 6 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
And just 3 years after his conviction, he was executed. From 95, he was convicted in like 96, and he was executed in 01. There were people that Biden pardoned the other day that had been there since 80 something and early 90s that were actually on death row the whole entire time that Timothy McVeigh was on death row and got executed.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That is unprecedented. Somebody getting executed that fast. That is unprecedented.
They wanted him dead.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. Why did they want him dead? That's very interesting.
We're gonna find out.
So we're gonna at least talk about it.
Stay tuned, kids. Stay
Speculation.
tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Things that seem to come up, all three situations. Things that come up in all three situations. Okay. First of all, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
That's the way to say it.
All three situations. FBI up to their eyeballs. All three situations. And undercover agents or informants seem to be in all
provocateurs, informants,
spooks.
Yeah, people that basically cause some of what happens. One of the guys that
instigators.
we'll talk about instigators, right? One of them happens to be a guy named Andreas Strassmeer, who was a. We'll talk about him later. But
so just for clarification, the third party involved with the husband and wife team, Michael and Lori Fortier.
Yeah, Fortier. That's the name.
Fortier.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, Fortier.
Yeah, they plea dealed out.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So interesting enough, I usually when all this stuff happens, initial reports have something entirely. They have like entirely different like facts that later disappear or later get corrected.
Yeah.
And in this situation, there was several bombs reported by the local news that was later like, oh no, it was just one bomb. It was just one bomb. And I found this very interesting thing. It was in the you were talking about that video earlier. The
forgotten history or the redacted one?
The Forgotten History one.
Forgotten History. Yep.
Yeah. Let me find it quick. But there was a comment on that video that I wanted to read right quick.
Oh.
Yeah, here it is. All right. So this comment.
Welcome to the Time Prophet. Who the hell is McVeigh? McVeigh. McVeigh.
It's McVeigh. It's McVeigh. All right. So I remember OKC when it happened. I was in the Army Reserve at the time, and I had a drill that followed that following weekend. I spoke to an E7 who was very disturbed about OKC, and initially was reluctant to speak about it. After some prodding and a couple of beers after the work day, we went to a local pizza place after work. So he's adding a lot of details in here. He said he had been a combat engineer for 8 years on active duty and that something was wrong. Okay. He said it first went from 1 kilogram to 2 kilograms. Or, I'm sorry, 1,000 pounds to 2,000 pounds to 4,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate fuel oil treated fertilizer. He had worked with ANFO and cratering charges, and it's a heaving charge with a burn rate of around 300,000 FPS. Sounds fast, but not really. And it wouldn't matter if it was a 40-foot truck with 40,000 pounds of ANFO. It simply doesn't burn fast enough to cause that kind of damage. Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
It was shattering charges of something like C4 or RDX with a much faster burn rate at around 60,000. And it had to be in the building, given the debris field out of the building perimeter, which shows charges blew outward as opposed to inward. It turns out, giving news reports on the day of the bombing, there were confirmed additional devices found inside the building, televised on video. How could that be possible? Right. Whatever happened to that line of investigation in those reports? Then there's the issue of what the ATF knew, when they knew it, and how they knew it. And they apparently told nobody beforehand. Track the names of Carol Hall, Dennis Mahon of a place outside of OKC called Elohim City. Now, this will come up. And how the ATF had bomb dogs working at 8 a.m. around the Murrah building, and yet the building wasn't evacuated. Okay. And then there's the issue of Bijan Ben Parton, USF retired, who spent most of his 30-year career doing bomb research for the Air Force at Eglin Air Force Base. And what was his thoughts about OKC, all reported in New American Magazine about that time. I think there are also articles about Representative Charles Key and Grand Juror Happy Heidelberg and what they discovered, published in the Media Bypass magazine. One, if not the best book written about OKC, was Medusa File 2 by Craig Roberts. But anyway, there's also another comment left on another video I watched that said that this lady had called her family and said there were bomb-sniffing dogs all over the place and that she was freaking out. But then she stopped talking about it and said that she had been talked to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And she has never talked about it since.
I assume that bomb-sniffing dogs were not a regular occurrence at that building.
No.
I am assuming that I'm assuming that bomb-sniffing dogs are not a common occurrence. Yeah.
Right.
So, so obviously,
started. I'm from OKC.
Hey, buddy. Well,
so
all right.
There was one interesting, and you touched on that, and I'm sure you watched it in that second video, from the Forgotten History channel. There was a police officer with the Oklahoma City Police who was very curious about some things and wanted to double check some things, and noticed that from the way things were destroyed, it's as if the bomb was in the building and blew outward.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
Where else did we see this though? We did a earlier video where this happened. Building 6.
Building 6, yeah.
I love piano player at the whorehouse. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome, piano
To
player.
the Park Whorehouse.
There you go. Let me go ahead and play. Let me go ahead and play my first video.
Bums.
Bum,
That's my
bum
dog.
sniffing dogs. That's a different thing. That's Wookiee's dog. But anyway, all right. Let me play this right quick.
Okay.
Are you the Oklahoma City bomber?
Maybe one of the benefits of me talking to you today is that you'll see that maybe not everything is true that you've heard about me.
On the morning of April 19, 1995, a decorated Gulf War combat vet blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City using a truck bomb that he didn't build and a Ryder truck that he didn't rent with the help of a passenger who didn't exist. Having just gotten away with the largest act of terrorism on U.S. soil to date, the Fort Bragg-trained Special Forces Sheep Drip Dropout blended in with the crowd by making his getaway in a car without a license plate and was immediately pulled over. The ATF was the supposed target of the attack, but luckily all of their agents were out of the office that morning. Later that day, the president boldly declared,
"We will find the people who did this.
And
when we do, justice will be swift, certain, and severe."
Except for
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
who, according to the FBI, never existed. In McVeigh's unprecedented 3.5-week trial, the prosecution didn't show the CCTV footage of him and John Doe number 2 parking the Ryder truck. Didn't explain why 24 separate witnesses mass hallucinated the existence of John Doe number 2. Didn't explain why the government was testing truck bombs and the Army was storing Ryder trucks at Camp Gruber right before the bombing. And didn't talk to the FBI informants who blew the whistle on the plot. But they did collaborate with the CIA, and they did convict McVeigh as the lone wolf bomber and Terry Nichols as his bomb-constructing accomplice. Still, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, including 300 bombing victims, insist on talking about facts and evidence and refuse to simply believe what they've been told a million times by people in tailored suits with well-coiffed hair. They quote the U.S. Army Brigadier General and the FBI crime lab whistleblower and the inventor of the neutron bomb who point out the physical impossibility that the Ryder truck bomb did the damage to the building, but that doesn't matter because if there were other bombs in the building that day, we would have heard about them.
The second explosive was found and defused.
I think he said another bomb.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
They then found a third device, which was also larger than the first.
And I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb.
The FBI claims to have lost the footage showing McVeigh and John Doe number 2 parking the truck in front of the Murrah building that morning, but that's understandable because the Bureau has a lot of important evidence to store. Terry Nichols insists the FBI was involved in the plot, but thankfully a judge has saved us the trouble of listening to him by preventing lawyers from deposing him. There was a bomb squad truck parked across the street 2 hours before the blast, but that just shows the authorities were prepared for anything. And
other documents obtained by 2020 show that someone called the Executive Secretariat's office at the Justice Department in Washington and said the Murrah building had been bombed. But this was 24 minutes before the blast.
But that just shows the public was unusually vigilant that morning. Also,
apparently, before the bombing, Governor Frank Keating's brother, Mark, had been working on a novel about a terrorist bombing in Oklahoma City. Stranger still, one of the characters in the novel was named Thomas McVeigh.
But that's probably just a coincidence. McVeigh wrote a letter to his sister where he admitted to being a secret Special Forces operative, and he complained to friends of the pain in his ass from an Army-implanted microchip, but that's crazy because if he didn't actually leave the Army in 1991, there would be proof of that. McVeigh was not executed on May 16, 2001 as scheduled because
the FBI had failed to turn over thousands of pages of evidence to McVeigh's defense attorneys.
But the execution went ahead on June 11th. In a highly unusual and secret agreement, no autopsy was performed. One witness said he was still breathing, and the prison officials admitted his hearse was a decoy. Then, the case was officially closed. And if you question any part of this story, you are a paranoid wingnut birther, truther, tenther, prepper, conspiracy loon who'd bring up any of these points ever again. Ever. This message has been brought to you by the friends of the FBI, ATF, DOJ, CIA, SPLC, MSN, and the U.S. Army. And remember, ignorance is strength.
Let me catch up on some of these chats here real quick. I like the firefighters were leaving the building saying there's still bombs in the building. Yep. I also double as a chief condom stretcher. Good job. I hope it pays well.
There you go.
And then the Time Prophet has to say, he probably threw the bomb from the grassy knoll. I don't know. He has to have a good arm to do that.
By the way, that's spelled Knoll. By the way, knoll. Yeah. Just say it.
Yeah,
Just
I
say
like Ike says that the Watergate files were stored there, but mysteriously burned up. Yeah, no shit.
Right.
In other news, you really know how to piss me off. Fuck. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's in the title. It's in the title. Okay.
Time Prophet says, do you think the musical Oklahoma drove him mad and caused him to bomb the building?
It's a hell of a musical. It's a hell of a musical.
It's a hell of a musical. It's a great freaking film.
What a beautiful morning.
My high school buddy surveyed the crater of the Murrah building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the bull symbol at the end means it was a load of bull.
I do have a question.
That's okay. Stay. That's okay. There's no such thing as conspiracies. Time Prophet.
I got a question. I got a question.
Question.
Was Ray Epps anywhere near the building at the time?
I don't know. He lives in Oklahoma, doesn't he? He does live in Oklahoma. I don't know.
There was a guy that was suspected of being the suspect number 2 in the cab with McVeigh, and I forget. He's got a weird last name.
Strasburg.
No, Strasburg. It starts with a T. Tantarinion or some shit like that. Real.
Oh yeah.
Let me find it right quick.
I forgot, but anyway, he was a big dude, and apparently his brother was doing some research.
They screwed with the wrong family because his brother turned out to be a very tenacious lawyer. Trentadue.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this Trentadue fellow, I think his name was Kenneth.
Kenneth Trentadue. Yeah,
looked very much like the descriptions given of the second guy, and mysteriously, he died in
federal custody.
Yes, in federal custody. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, he died claiming that
he died somehow in a suicide attempt. He beat himself to death.
Yes, he beat himself to death.
Beat himself to death.
All kinds of weird shit.
Right.
Too bad.
But
it's funny how they do that.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. Let me go ahead and play this. I got 2-parter here. Let me play the first part of this. This includes Trentadue, but this also includes another person. In other words, it's a body count. Around a lot of these things, there seems to be a body count. So
there always is.
It's around Clintons. Anything that the Clintons are vaguely involved with, there just tends to be bodies dropping, and they're all suicides. Yes. They're all suicides. It's amazing. I know,
right?
It's amazing how that happens.
Let's get this one in real quick from my Ike. Go
ahead.
Smith Roberts and Associates were hired to was hired to do the elevation design survey, and my buddy, the owner's son, actually was down in the bottom of the crater.
Right.
Watergate? Yeah. No shit.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go.
Well, there you go.
Welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in. On April 19th, 1995, 20 years ago this week, a man in his late 20s named Timothy McVeigh detonated a fertilizer bomb, destroying the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. Shortly thereafter, he was apprehended by an Oklahoma state trooper during a routine traffic stop. And in June of 2001, after a controversial series of legal proceedings, McVeigh was executed by lethal injection. For a few brief months, this would remain the most catastrophic and most recognizable act of terrorism on U.S. soil. But decades later, 2 decades later, questions about the Oklahoma City bombing remain, not just in the minds of people on the fringes of the mainstream media, but also for relatives of the victims, some federal investigators, and even some people who were implicated in the attack. Here are 4 of the unanswered questions. Number 1. How many people participated in the conspiracy leading to this attack? And mind you, this is not a theory, this is an actual conspiracy, in that people participated in secret to do this thing. The question is, who were these people? Because you'll see in the original reports there are descriptions of John Does. The first John Doe is typically thought to be Timothy McVeigh. The second John Doe, however, that's a very different story, and it still hasn't been positively identified. There are a couple possibilities. There's Kenneth Michael Trentadue, and then there's Richard Lee Guthrie Jr. Remember those names because they come into play later, especially in the second unanswered question. The suicides associated with this event. There are two that people will tell you are, at the very least, suspicious. One of the first of these was a police officer named Terrence Yeakey. Now, Terrence was a hometown hero during the events of the bombing. He was about 4 blocks away. He was the first police officer to respond. He rescued several people, and he wasn't, a braggart. He wasn't super arrogant about this. In fact, the rumors on the street were that he really refused to have too much contact with the people he rescued because he was just doing his job. On May 8th, 1996, he was discovered in a field. What people believe happened was this. Apparently, he attempted to slit his wrist and his neck, climbed over some barbed wire into a field where he shot himself, allegedly. He died from a gunshot to the head. This was ruled a suicide. People who don't buy the official story believe that Yeakey had some sort of insight that would contradict the official narrative of the bombing. Second, Kenneth Michael Trentadue, one of our potential John Doe number 2s, died in federal custody. However, the medical examiner called to the scene refused to agree that this was a suicide. The body was covered with bruises, cuts, looked like it had been beaten beforehand, and the examiner didn't believe that these were self-inflicted. Another person who didn't believe this was Trentadue's brother, a practicing attorney named Jesse Trentadue, and Jesse will also come into play later in the story. 3. A familiar name that you might remember from the initial proceedings is a guy named Terry Nichols, who helped McVeigh build the bomb and assisted McVeigh with a couple of other pieces leading up to the bombing, but according to him, he didn't know exactly what was being planned. And we're probably not going to find out all of Nichols' side of the story because, according to him, he's been repeatedly denied access to journalists, to sending outside mail. It's been interfered with. He contacted the lawyer we just mentioned, Jesse Trentadue, because he said that he had proof or evidence, or he had testimony that there was a high-ranking official of some sort directing McVeigh toward this attack.
Interesting. Let's get caught up here on some things. I like Ike says, BS, no, he wasn't. He's also trained at Camp Gruber. Cool. Thank you for your service. And B-Dog in the chat. Clinton once again.
Right, B-Dog.
You never know. You never know. Never know. And by the way, oh yes, Captain Infinity was in the chat also with the clock right there. So,
right.
The clock. All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Can I point out, Timothy McVeigh said to his sister that he was part of a secret organization that he was trained at Fort Bragg. Individual who just blew up in the Trump Motel was trained at Fort Bragg. Individual who
St. Louis.
The guy in New Orleans trained at Fort Bragg. And the second attempted assassin also was at Fort Bragg. So there just seems, all roads seem to lead to Fort Bragg.
Yes.
Interestingly enough. So, of course, we're in Time Prophet's world. It's all coincidence. Totally coincidence. These things just happen that have these vague, connections. But, anyway, that's okay. That's okay. But, all right. So, Yeakey was interesting. I haven't heard him anywhere else. Did you hear Yeakey's name before?
I heard him in the Forgotten History Part 2. He was in there, and apparently, according to
he was determined to kill himself. He was freaking determined.
Oh yeah, it
to kill
was.
himself.
He was.
Yeah.
He was determined to go to try to go. He actually tried to get access back to the building to take a look again at the crime scene, and he was denied. Matter of fact, he was chased off by the feds.
Yeah,
but
he basically what he saw that day didn't. He was a good cop.
Match up. Yeah, it didn't match up with the story they were telling.
And so, because he kept getting stonewalled, he tried to investigate himself. And suddenly, he was so distraught that he crawled over barbed wire with his wrist and his throat cut, and then shot himself in the head.
Yeah, exactly.
After crawling over barbed wire into a field. Yeah. So, because that's how people commit suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks, Bunny.
Yeah.
And Trent evidently beat himself to death before he hung himself in his jail cell. So.
Well, we're all flawed.
Yeah. We're all flawed. We're all flawed.
We're all flawed.
He stabbed himself in the back. He stabbed himself in the back 17 times. He was run over by a truck.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he had no connection to Hillary Clinton. Anyway.
No. Of course not.
All right.
Never happened.
Now, there's also a connection.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right.
That's not what.
There's also a connection where Nichols actually was in Philippines. Live in St. Louis now. Damn parkours did it. There you go. All right.
Those sneaky ones. Watch out
for
parkours.
Damn parkours.
They get around.
All right. All right, but anyway, so Nichols was also in Philippines with the individual who wound up being the first bomber of the World Trade Center. And by the way, that guy used a Ryder truck, which was also what McVeigh used.
Amazing that somewhere somebody has photographic evidence of some Ryder trucks on a military base not too far from there.
Huh.
Funny.
Yeah.
They were doing
Isn't that
a quick-a-dink?
Yeah, explosive test.
Wasn't it just amazing that all the ATF were gone that day?
Yeah, they all got text messages saying, "Don't come into work, take the day. Go fishing." Kind of like at the
wow. How prescient was that? How conveniently prescient was that? Anyway.
Isn't it great? Just like the World Trade Center, people were told, "Hey, don't come in today.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about it."
There you go.
Lovely
certain people.
Well, we wouldn't have.
Sherry.
What's up, little Sherry? Well, we wouldn't have that video evidence, the camera evidence, if it wasn't for Jesse Trentadue, his Michael's brother, who is a very tenacious individual, has filed a FOIA after FOIA after FOIA, and finally got the footage out. But he, as soon as Kash Patel hits the FBI, there's a reason why people are like absolutely freaking out that Kash Patel's about to hit the FBI. I'm just saying. Because, Camp Gruber is 2.5 ways from OKC.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's that guy. And then there's the Elohim, which was a neo-Nazi compound. And seemed to be the center of a lot of this stuff. It's called the City of Elohim. And it was about to be raided by the FBI. And suddenly, an individual who supposedly had ties to neo-Nazis and who was supposed to be training everybody basically took off ahead of time.
Yep.
And what was his name? Andreas Strassmeyer, Elohim City security chief. But he had been talking about destroying a federal building and visit the Murrah building with another man. And 2 days after the bombing, he basically took off. But Graham later identified one of the men that was casing out the Murrah building as Andreas Strassmeyer. Now, interesting thing about him is he basically, let me see, he basically took off. He got out of the United States, but he got out of the United States aided by members of Germany's elite counter-terrorism unit, the
really?
GSG-9.
Huh. Interesting.
So why would a counter-terrorism unit be helping a guy escape from the United States from investigation? Anyway, but CIA pilot Dave Holloway flew him out of the United States to Mexico, where he was smuggled to Berlin. So anyway, so the individual, yeah. So that a lot of people who are in the know think that he was the mastermind, or at least he planned it. Okay. So what do we have so far? We have a single fertilizer bomb parked in front of a building, and all of the damage gets done to the fascia of that particular building.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not how bombs work.
No.
Surely it was just a gas explosion. Nothing to see here, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how bombs work.
Confused.
Guy Cruel looks as confused as I am. All right. What are you confused by, Cruel? What are you confused by?
I don't think. Is he confused?
Are you confused, Cruel?
That's just my. Yeah, that's just my natural state. So.
That's just the natural. Okay. All right. Anyway.
Oh, shit.
So, okay, let's play the second half of this video. Maybe it'll clear some things up. All right, here you go.
Now, at this juncture, we should point out, in all fairness, that it is not uncommon for people who are imprisoned to seek outside help and to say that they have more information that didn't come out at the time of their original trial. This happens often with many sorts of convicts and many sorts of crimes. Fourth, and perhaps the most disturbing, concerns the ATF and the FBI. And this leads into this whole who is the high-ranking official that this Terry Nichols guy is talking about. Well, at the time, the ATF and the FBI, despite being arms of the same government, were at loggerheads. They were not friends. Their communication was very poor. And this has led people to wonder if there was a compartmentalization of information, where, you know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So this is a valid question. How much did the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms know about the possibility of an impending attack, and how much or how little did they tell the FBI? For people who don't believe the official story of the Oklahoma City bombing, one of their unanswered questions would be, why were there no ATF agents injured in the attack if the ATF was the target of this attack on the Murrah building? There is some stuff that happens early in the news cycle about this event that muddies the water here, because there were claims that 2 agents were injured, then there were claims that 4 agents were injured. 1 agent was apparently injured in an elevator shaft. However, one of the relatives of a victim of the attacks delved into this a little bit deeper with the help of an investigator, and they contacted the elevator company, who said that story just wasn't true. The elevator company checked everything. There was no elevator in free fall. There was no one injured in a shaft. It didn't happen. And this story disappeared from the news. So within this realm of allegation, these allegations of a cover-up, we see 2 sort of diverging theories here. And one of these diverging theories is that there was a cover-up after the fact of bungling, right? A cover-up of a lack of communication due to departmental rivalries or agency rivalries, which is possible. But the second idea, and perhaps the more disturbing idea, ties into what we've been covering this week. The idea of a false flag operation. The idea that someone or some faction in the U.S. government worked purposefully to have an attack like this take place, or like you will see in our earlier episode on is the FBI manufacturing terrorist, somehow put these people, put McVeigh and the people he was in contact with in touch with the techniques, expertise, and equipment that they would need to successfully carry something like this out. At this point, it's unknown if these questions will ever be answered to the satisfaction of the people raising them. And we have to say that legally, like in the official U.S. court system, they have ruled that Timothy McVeigh was responsible with the help of Terry Nichols, maybe not knowing entirely what he was getting involved with. But as far as they're concerned, that is a case closed situation. What do you think? Do you think that the official story of the Oklahoma City bombing has been told in truth or in full detail? Is it the truth told slant, like that old Emily Dickinson poem? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And we'd like to hear if you have any other unanswered questions about
Interesting.
Things that make you go,
Exactly.
Okay.
Whoa.
So yeah, the moving scale on how many FBI. Well, if he was like okay with being the fall guy, then what would be the best way to get called into the system? Anyone? Getting arrested blocks away for not having a tag in your car, going into custody quietly and without being shot, and being in custody peacefully when they discover that you're the guy behind it, going through a whole trial and then faking your own death at the execution.
Mm-hmm.
And your name's on it, but if you're planning on giving up your name anyway, and his dad, I read a Guidepost article where a guy befriended his father, and his father was always really, really confused by it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that's typical parents. You know, my baby wouldn't do that. My baby wouldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. You know, even though your baby has a rap sheet long as your arm.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
But in this case, his father was genuinely confused by it because he said his son was such a patriot that his son was just like do anything he was told to do.
Right.
And so the thing that was up at this time, let me add another wrinkle. The thing that was proposed and on the being debated at this time, the Patriot Act.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it wasn't in place until after 9/11.
Yes. It kept getting tabled and it kept getting tabled. But the thing that they launched the Patriot Act was the Oklahoma City bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
It led up to it, that's for sure, because they did do the crime bill.
Yeah.
The crime bill, parts of the crime bill are in Patriot Act. So
yeah. So basically you have the Patriot Act being kind of like birthed, quote birthed out of this. And then 2001, the guy gets murdered. And what else happened in 2001? The guy gets executed in 2001. What else happened in 2001? Anyone?
Oh yeah, 9/11.
Anyone? 9/11 happened in 2001. Yeah.
Yep. My sentiments exactly like.
There you go.
Act. Yep.
So,
well, Patsy, he was
one of the reasons.
an idiot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I use the image. You can always look. You can always go back WEF. But one thing that I keep going back to is that image of him pulling a tricycle out of the rubble. That's why I used it in the opening credits. And that's ultimately what pisses me off the most. is that no matter who's behind this, no matter who's responsible for this, ultimately, even if you believe their narrative, it should still piss you off that Ruby Ridge and Waco happened.
Right.
And inspired this.
Yeah.
In one way or another, it inspired this.
Or that was used.
Or it was used as a cover.
To cover.
But ultimately, 268 people died, 19 of them kids.
Yeah.
And just for political gain, if this was just all a conspiracy, it was for political gain, that's even more disgusting.
Sorry, Ike, we just keep pissing you off. I'm sorry, man.
Sorry, Ike. Sorry, Ike.
Well, here's one thing that I've learned over the course of a few years of, kind of just like watching videos, reading books, magazines, and doing some basic research, and not just conspiracy theories. But here's the thing. Boils down to this. Our government, probably like many other governments throughout the world, but our government has a black budget. And in that black budget, there is funding that nobody knows about that goes to departments in the government, all the alphabet agencies. But here's the thing. Like this guy said in the video, it's compartmentalized. The ATF doesn't tell the FBI nothing, and the CIA don't tell anybody nothing, and the NSA doesn't say shit. Everything's compartmentalized.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you also know that Oklahoma City happened exactly 2 years after Waco, to the day?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
it was an anniversary of Waco, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's also a day that's also known as Patriots Day, by the way.
So in these groups, it's all compartmentalized, and a lot of these people hired. Okay, so basically, I'm trying to say it, but shut up, damn it! They hire psychopaths and sociopaths for these departments to do these jobs.
One for you, Sorry.
They're sick in the head, mother effers. They would not get a job anywhere else. They could not pass a psych test. But these individuals in these departments, these compartmentalized departments, want the sickest freaks they can get their hands on to do shit like this or whatever else, allegedly. Okay?
Well, get
That's
this.
the problem.
There is a guy, I saw an interview with somebody. He was the bassist for the group Toto for a while. And it's kind of came out of nowhere. It was in this interview, but the guy actually knows Ray Epps.
Oh,
and he said that Ray Epps, Ray Epps was if he's anything, is a useful idiot. And he's like, Ray was the kind of person that would like, oh, you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do this.
He's just a puppet. Whatever. Out there.
And I honestly think that there's like two kinds of personalities that they look for. They look for the unquestioning soldier, and they look for the convenient psychopath. And like Lon Horiuchi. Okay, I think that's the two that they look for. They look for one that's willing to do horrific things if they're told to.
Yes.
And the ones that wants to do horrific things because they
human life doesn't make a difference. There's no moral compass. There's no moral code. It's just whatever they tell them to do, they fucking do it. No matter how horrendous and gruesome the shit is. For no reason. They could be innocent people and just want to,
What do you say, Crow? What do you say?
Well, I was gonna say, just since you mentioned sociopaths, psychopaths, and all that. After watching Burn Notice, when you said that, I'm thinking of Larry and Simon.
Yeah.
Larry and Simon. Burn Notice. Right? You know those guys because they were total nut jobs.
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit. They would just kill.
Yeah, and so so if you took somebody like Timothy McVeigh, who is by all accounts a decorated soldier, and then and a perfect order following individual, and then you took him to the side and you said, we want to get this Patriot Act in, and the only way it's going to happen if something horrifically happens, horrible enough that we can get Congress through Congress's not hate
right.
Yep. That we have to get better control over.
You're
our
getting
populace
choppy.
and better control over these white supremacists or whatever, and all these other people are going to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so basically,
another example.
Go ahead.
Another example would be from Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't know if you're familiar with it. One of the characters in that, the boss, is ordered to betray the United States, but she's not really doing it, but she's ordered to.
Yeah,
that's another example I was just thinking of. So with McVeigh being very, very patriotic soldier, it's possible he was ordered to betray the United States to further that goal.
Well, that's what his dad said. His dad said that he was like reflects anything he was told to do, he would have done it.
Yeah.
Right.
And he just didn't know how he would have done something like this without an order,
Right.
And maybe he didn't.
Probably
maybe
there's a
he might be on a Caribbean island somewhere, or they might turn him into mold. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's a documentary out there called The Noble Lie. You guys may have heard of it.
No.
No, I haven't.
It's done by Alex Jones. It's about Oklahoma City. It's pretty. It's got a lot of good theories and information in there. So I sent you guys a link to it on X. So
okay,
right.
I
gotcha.
Yeah. The thing is, though, a lot of this stuff is not going to, unfortunately, end. It's not going to end. It won't end under Trump. It'll just be silent. Here's the problem. Or here's the solution. Here's the solution. Dissolve black budgets. If the Congress dissolves black budgets and completely eliminates any non-accounted for funding, this will stop because they won't have people. They won't have money to give people to employ them.
I might be being Pollyanna. But I think that this incoming administration is closest that we've ever gotten to maybe.
If he makes it past the inauguration,
Don't speak that into existence, asshole.
I'm not.
Come on now.
I'm just telling you
he put it out there. We're done.
Shit that's going on.
Game over.
What? I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Put the idea out there.
Just spoken into being. Just spoken into existence.
Nope.
Asshole.
I'm not the first.
I can't believe
this is why we can't have good things, Wookie.
Wookie,
you're the reason we can't have good things.
We liked it better when you just ate on the streams. Go back to eating on the streams, damn it.
Oh, damn it.
Okay, so
damn it, Jim.
We've come to the end of our trilogy. Any conclusions?
Yes, we have.
Any conclusions you guys have drawn from our trilogy?
Holy crap.
Yes.
Any observations? Something that happened, all three of them that you found interesting.
Yes. It seems to be government overreach yet again.
Mm-hmm. A different kind, though, right?
A different kind, yeah, definitely. Government overreach, FBI, ATF, the common thread throughout all three.
Mm-hmm.
With
FBI and ATF, right?
With fuckery afoot.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Yeah. This was too big for one person to do, I feel.
Right.
And the question I have is, why was it done? What was it in reference to, and what was it supposed to have the effect for?
Yeah.
Well, take your guns away. They've been trying to disarm you for long enough. It's all the
right.
Yeah, well, thank you for that time, Prophet. You really cleared a lot of things up. Thank you, sir.
Oh, follow the money. He's right as well.
He's right here. Follow the money. Absolutely.
There's always money.
But if it's in a black budget, how do you follow it?
Right.
Well,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you eliminate the black budgets, you just arbitrarily, just across the board, there will be no black budgets. Everything will be open and accounted for and on the congressional record. If you do that, this shit will stop. This shit will stop.
The government does not have a black budget. Why would they hide their transactions from us? You know, they're good, God-fearing people.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
They're there for us. They're there. They're public
They're
servants.
not there for us.
They're
for the
public servants.
Enter sarcasm here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Yeah, you didn't pick up on that, Wookie. You didn't pick up at all. Anyway.
Yeah. He's got a point. Yeah, you should try Britain.
Okay. So we're going to close the polls in about
you need to close your poll?
We're going to close the polls in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, everybody vote in the polls.
Sure.
I've got an odd number here, so wow.
Actually, about 5.
I got two
votes.
5. I got 5 votes, and it's heavily it's heavily leaning debunked. Well, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, did McVeigh act alone? That's the question. Did McVeigh act alone? So, all right. Okay. So actually, I got an undecided that added on. All right. So ending my poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ended. Okay. So last second, I got an undecided, but I've got 2 debunks. 1 undecided, 2 debunks. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I got 5 votes. It looks like 3 for debunked. And 2 for undecided.
Okay. So that is 5 undecided and how many debunked? 3 on your side.
I got 3 debunked.
3 debunked, so 4 debunks. Okay.
4 debunks, 5 undecided.
Okay. All right. So it's 5 undecided. So that's 7 undecided, include mine. And how many debunked?
I got 3 plus 1 of yours says 4.
Well, I've got 2 debunks over mine.
Oh, okay. So I got 3
That's
debunks.
5. So 7 undecided and 5 debunks. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to be a debunked. I do not think he acted alone. So what do you say, you Wookie?
I don't think he acted alone either.
All right. So that's
It's
7.
just-
We're
I
tied.
don't think he acted alone.
All right, so that's 7. We're tied, undecided, debunked. All right, Cruel, are you going to be a tiebreaker? Were you decided, undecided, or debunked? Did McVeigh act alone? Have you seen enough?
Did he act alone? Hell no.
Hell no. So you are a debunked. Okay.
He
Abby?
might. I mean, can I
Go
just say he might not have knowingly, but he didn't act alone.
Okay.
Yeah, usually the patsy is the one that's getting strung along.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they string them
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's true. What about you, Abby?
I'm debunked. This was not a one-man job. He could not have done this alone. It was too complex. He didn't have any bomb-making ability, to my knowledge, even though he was military trained. Nichols did. Nichols did. So there was others involved. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like tonight we have decided that no, Timothy McVeigh did not act alone. The FBI was wrong again, or at least deliberately wrong. They investigated themselves and found no fault in themselves. So there you go. Anyway, so that is let's play that.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Have we had an all debunked yet?
First one, I think.
Yeah. Not sure.
Hold on a second. Yeah. No, we haven't. So this is a new one.
So episode 32. After 32 episodes, we get it debunked.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, had to happen sometime.
I know, right?
Hey, Wookie, you've got that phallic symbol on your mic again. What the hell?
This is onion ring. He came in a Jack in the Box
onion ring.
When I was a kid. Onion ring.
Okay, is that what
it is? Not a cock
likely
ring.
story.
I thought it was a parkour souvenir. That's what it looks like, you know.
Is that what you're telling me?
One per show, always has to be.
Yeah, always. It's tradition.
Yes, little onion ring. Oh yes, little onion ring.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for hanging out with me. And this has been a great trilogy. I'm probably gonna put it in its own, on countdown. So if people just want to watch the trilogy.
FYI, tomorrow morning we'll be broadcasting the weekend review. A lot of interesting topics, and also we'll talk about fucking wild boar. So
Hollywood is burning.
Wild boar.
Literally.
Yeah. Literally.
Or at least the players involved.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, they're not cooking a wild boar though, but we have one.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, tomorrow.
Did you say wild boar?
Wild whore? Is that wild whore?
Park whore.
Okay.
They roam freely. They're free-range park whores. We'll be doing that.
Walked right into it.
7 o'clock Pacific and 10 o'clock Eastern. So, tomorrow morning, mañana, have your coffee ready. It's
actually, they postponed my church service, so I'll be on.
Well, there you go. We'll have a full house.
All right.
Kroll, you want to participate, or you're going to be conscious?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think that's the middle of the day for Kroll. So
I'm not really sure. I don't know.
It's 3. I think it's 3 p.m. over there.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it is.
It depends on if his PlayStation 5 is working. So
yeah.
No, it's not just that. It's just I haven't been for a proper shop in ages because
there you go.
And ice. So
the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Wood's house did not burn down.
No, it didn't. No.
Isn't that lovely? That's hilarious.
Cool. You got to get your Edmund Hillary outfit on and go out in the ice and try to get to the store.
There you go. Yeah. What's the Yeti? Anyway.
Watch out for the Yeti.
No, there's none so far, so we're all right.
Or the parkour in the fur coat.
Hey, you didn't rub it, Doug.
I know.
How many Mars bars?
You have syphilis. Yeah.
Mars bars.
We've got fuck all in the fridge. I need to go out and get stuff.
All right.
All right, brother.
Anyway, see you later. See you tomorrow morning.
Everybody.
Bye.
Have a great